This group of seniors must have the most high school spirit of any group of seniors. Because when he's like, "There are wolves at the door. Are we gonna let them in?" I'd be like, "Yeah, let's let the wolves in, dude. They're gonna eat you." You know. There will never be a return to law and order until additional crew is abolished from this earth. Welcome to Additional Crew, the spoiler-heavy review show where we choose whatever random film we want to talk about. This episode, we bring to you Keanu Reeves, Kiefer Sutherland, and Billy Zane stars high school students who start a vigilante group to combat crime in their neighborhood. I am, of course, talking about Charles Braverman's oft-forgotten made-for-TV movie, Brotherhood of Justice. Speaking of which, if you have to name the 3 stars of the film before you say what it's about, you're kind of burying the lead there, I think, a little bit. But it's neither here nor there. Before we jump into all that, let me introduce our co-hosts. I am Nick, hopeful owner of at least 2 jackets that appeared in this film. And with me is Peter, friend of reality and friend of the podcast. You may remember him from Jason X and Terminator Pods. How's it going, Peter?
It's good. I think I found a sweater out of the movie as well. I was inspired by Keanu's 1986 style.
When he's in that gas station and he's just talking to his girlfriend, he just keeps leaning over and you can't tell how long the arms are because they keep going further and further down. I was like, this is great.
Yeah, he is like the classic preppy jock in this movie. If you look that up in the dictionary.
You've got Keanu Reeves in this and his disappearing parents. But let's talk. So we're talking about Brotherhood of Justice. So Peter brought this movie to my attention, and I've never heard of it or seen it before, actually. And so the cast is pretty insane for a movie of this sort. But also the story is interesting because where you would look at this and you would think this has got to be a kind of a more generic action movie. It's not. It's actually a movie that seems to be about a vigilante group that, in order to keep the police out of their school, they end up trying to take on crime themselves. And, as we've seen in movies like The Dark Knight, vigilante groups don't work so well. So we find out what the issues are kind of firsthand, and especially with the infighting in the group. And we end up with a movie that wears kind of a more contextualized look at what justice is than I think you would guess by any means when you just look at this film or see what this film is about. So, story takes place in the town of Santa Cruz. I don't believe that they ever say it takes place anywhere else, as far as I'm aware of
it. Santa Lucia High School. So I guess the town is Santa Lucia. And it was Santa Carla in Lost Boys, which was filmed the next year, 1987, I'm pretty sure. Which, in my opinion, is a way better movie. But that's to be expected. I think this movie was a made-for-TV movie, and it seems like it had a much lower budget than Lost Boys did. So
yeah, and you can feel the made for TV in quite a few different parts of this, simply because of the way it cuts out and cuts back in. So you'll have some editing issues that were specifically made definitely for commercials.
That's true. Now that I think about that, yeah. But yeah, Lost Boys. Both these movies were filmed in Santa Cruz. The reason I chose this movie is because it was filmed at my high school, Aptos High School, and so it has a special place in my heart. Just because the high school scenes, I was there at that high. I hung out exactly where they were, by the lockers or whatever, in the quad. I mean, it's so cool. And the school when I went there in the turn of the millennium, dating myself, it pretty much looked the same as in this movie. So there was an additional building that was built. I noticed when I was watching the movie. I was like, oh, the I building is not there in the movie. That's where I took Spanish class. But the rest of it, it's like, oh, I used to sit on that bench behind Keanu Reeves' head.
I mean, that's pretty neat. Yeah, heck yeah.
So, and then the scenes at the gas station where you're looking across the street from the gas
Mm-hmm.
station, there's this red building, reddish like kind of concrete building, and that's Cole's Barbecue, and that has been like a staple in Aptos, California, um,
Okay.
my whole life. It might still be there. I haven't checked in a while, so maybe it's gone. I don't know. But when I was growing up, Cole's Barbecue. It's right across the street in the background of the gas station scene.
I, hey, it's that neat little information that you got, right? I mean, I can imagine how you can see this, and that's pretty cool because the first scene. I want to just talk about it specifically because I really like the way this first scene was shot and like the way it kind of sets everything up. Is you have these burglars going into a high school and committing just vandalism, right? It just seems like wanton vandalism because they're spray painting everything. And one thing that they do really good is how really well is how they kind of zoom in on everyone them stabbing all of the balls
Yeah.
because it just feels so mean. I don't know what it was. I was like, oh gosh, that's just you're not getting anything out of this. You're just kind of wrecking things for a lot of people right now. What the heck?
It's
Um,
yeah, it's just senseless vandalism. And geez, it I I am guilty of some things like that. I won't incriminate myself, but there was plenty of bad things me and my friends did in that same exact area and town. So I probably could have I was probably the kids that they Brotherhood of Justice would have gone after. I probably would have been on their list.
the Brotherhood
Maybe not the
strikes.
top, but like, somewhere down down the list.
That you're the one they would have agreed to after they finally decided that guns were okay to bring, right?
Yeah. Maybe it was Kiefer Sutherland who was like made it at the end of the list or whatever. Uh,
But yeah, like so this film has a surprisingly deep understanding of like, well, okay, I'm kind of being hyperbolic here, but it has a more deep understanding of crime and criminalization than you would guess from what you would think. Because when I think, okay, we're looking at a movie from 1986, and it's starring this group of people, and the main character is a preppy jock. We're gonna get a oh man, drugs bad, everything bad, and it's definitely all the people who are coming into your neighborhood making it bad, right? And it plays on that and it kind of flips it a little bit on its head, saying, yeah, but sometimes you can be too vigilant and you become bad.
yeah.
And it's a simple theme now when you think about it, but in '86 for this cast and group of people to actually go through this in a film was pretty. I don't know. It felt relatively like I was happy to see it.
Yeah, I mean there's the anti-drug thing in the movie for sure, but there's also racism in the movie too. And
Mm-hmm.
it's like it's right out in the open. Um and in Santa Cruz County, so the town they go to when they in the movie when they are looking for their buddy's stolen motorcycle, that is Watsonville. They drive down Main Street, Watsonville, and that's Watsonville. If people don't know, is like where is the strawberry capital like of California? One of them, and Salinas is huge on strawberries too. But it has a huge Hispanic culture there, Chicano culture, and so that they like go there and they're just automatically like blaming some Mexican guy that they think stole it, and even though he didn't even see who stole it. Um, so there, and then in that scene where the guys are in the back of the cop car, they're like, "That what's his name? Mutt? Not
Oh,
Mutt.
mule.
Mule. That guy's like, I'm gonna drop you out of a helicopter, rent a helicopter, and drop you out like a bag of garbage, like
It
from
was so
3,000 feet.
funny. Like, what was this?
Yeah, but it's like I noticed that it was just like very racist like
Mm-hmm.
tones in there.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, to be expected from these preppy white kids, like privileged kids, it seems, especially growing up there.
It was.
That's realistic based on that area. Like
Mm-hmm.
there was plenty of kids like that, and then when they drove down to Watsonville, then yeah, you're gonna see like the Chicano culture, and lowriders and all that stuff. So it took the real towns like of Santa Cruz, Aptos, and Watsonville, that area, and it didn't change though. So it mixed it into the film, it incorporated it into the film. Um, it didn't try to like make some just total fantasy world.
Right. And
Yeah.
I I did appreciate how, like, even when this movie does come across pretty clear with its racism, it did each time kind of point out how that was really not the answer at all here.
Yeah.
Like it
There's
was very clear about it too.
Yeah, like there it almost is intentional about it when they're making fun of the guys in the back of the cop car, then the actual police officer or sheriff deputy, he speaks up for the guys like in the back, and he's like, just because they're Chicano doesn't mean they're bad, or like whatever, something like that. He like defends the guys in the back of his cop car to these kids.
I think he says, "You
So
think that they did something bad just because they're Chicano?"
yeah,
Something like
something. He's like, well, they're in the back of the cop car. I was like, well, that's a good point, but yeah, um,
what it was like. It's interesting because this is like a unique mix of themes for me, because it's like pro police, anti righteousness, and like I don't think that you could see that sort of, like, it wouldn't exist now, right? Because like those two things are considered so linked together. But at this time, it makes all the logical sense in the world when you watch it. You're like, yeah. So the police are the people who can actually carry out justice because they have mechanisms that are meant to rein them in and hold them to standards. Whereas you guys, as soon as you forget about your standards, you're losing it, and you're just gonna go beat up and stab people randomly because you don't like them. Like
jeez, yeah, Billy Zane, he went crazy in the
what? I I have written on one of my lines here. I was like, okay, it's not often that you get a movie with
less,
these
yeah,
three: Kiefer Sutherland, Keanu Reeves, and Billy Zane. And Billy Zane is the one that's like freaking out the most. Like Billy Zane, I've seen him in a lot of things. He's never really impressed me a ton. Now, you love him if you watch his movies. It's just the way it is. But in this movie, I was like,
yeah,
he's killing it, kind of. He had the right body language, the right energy, and he was ultimately, in my opinion, the main villain of this movie.
yes, he was a standout in this movie. What is he in The Mummy? I think he's in the like Brandon Fraser movie,
Yeah,
The
he's like
Mummy. I think he
the
plays the mummy.
I don't think he plays the mummy. He plays like the
Maybe
alternate
not.
love, the person who's trying to hook up with his girl too, Brendan Fraser's
Okay.
girl too, and I can't remember his name, but I do remember his face in that one.
Yeah. But he has a striking look, like the dark, brooding look, dark eyes, dark hair, dark
Mhm,
eyebrows.
mhm.
So, but yeah, he's definitely the villain, I guess, in this movie. The other guy that I just mentioned, Mule, kind of eggs it on. That's one thing I liked about this movie, is that there was like all these different archetypes for characters in a like gang of dudes. Like you had the nerd, you had the leader who's Keanu, um, and then you had uh, the kind of like dark guy Billy Zane, and then the Mule is kind of seems like not so intelligent. He's kind of like, I guess, yeah,
He
that
could be like
kind of
swung
plays
either
that
which
role.
way. He's like,
Yeah,
I could be stand up
yeah.
to my morals and values, but also I can go have fun with these dudes if you're not bugging me about morals and values.
Yeah, yeah, you're right. He just goes whichever way the wind blows, type of thing. So that was something that I liked about the character development. There's not a ton, I guess, in this movie. I mean, there's not as much as there could have been. One thing I really felt was lacking was Kiefer's character development, even though he is a great actor, and I would have loved to see more of him in this movie, even though he's on the
Mhm.
front cover of the movie, at least the copy I have. Here we
Same back
go.
here. Yeah,
So,
yeah. It's almost the exact same. Yeah.
um, it's like he's not in the movie that much. He doesn't have a. He's just like kind of some guy that works with Keanu or Derek, the character's girlfriend.
I
And
think like in because I agree he did an excellent job in the scenes he was given actually in this film. Like he acted pretty well throughout them. I thought that like his character of like working stiff everyman was a good kind of juxtaposition, right? But
yes,
also
yeah,
they didn't really use it very much, and they didn't use it in particularly intriguing ways. I thought it was like really cool. You got this guy who's he's just I just work for my money. I got a cool car, and I'm a nice dude, and I go home afterwards because that people resonate with that, right? But in the context of the film, he kind of just existed to be a target erroneously, or like that they could come and finally pick on the wrong dude for no reason.
yeah. There was no, and the whole like it was like kind of a love triangle, but not really full. It like was hinting at that, even though there was no obvious like physical thing between Lori Laughlin's character and Kiefer. It was just kind of like flirtation, flirting with a love triangle kind of thing. But I don't know why it was in there. That part.
It
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 didn't
only
have much purpose for the movie, like for the Brotherhood of
it
Justice and
it only served
the
to make Derek more of a jerk. Like
yeah,
that
yeah.
was it. It was like here's the thing that we can push to make Derek really like get mad at something, so he takes it out on something else.
Yeah, you're right. It showed that he would rather hang out with like the Brotherhood than his girlfriend, and then his girlfriend kind of has a shoulder to cry on in Kiefer Sutherland, and so I mean, yeah, you got to have other supporting characters, and it worked. But I just would have loved. I love Kiefer's down to earth character in it, and how you put it, juxtaposition to the kind of outrageous character, the rest of the Brotherhood of Justice, all those guys are pretty like outrageous
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
and not just like some normal person, you know.
And you know, like for me, the one thing that I liked about the difference between him is that you see um, Kiefer's character, Victor. He's just like he's there with Pat's Pasty, not Patsy, Pasty, right? And
Pasty, yeah.
I assume that Victor's in some sort of management position. I like, or he's like a shift supervisor or whatever. He seems like he has some sort of say over everyone else. But he also protects the people around him, right? Like, regardless of what they've gone through, who they are, what they've done, he's just like, hey, you don't just get jumped, okay? I don't know what's going on here, but you don't just get jumped, you know. And then,
Yeah.
meanwhile, you see these other guys are like, yeah, well, you reported me for cheating on my science test, but we're the righteous ones because we're gonna come and fight them. Um, and again, it's just like it's showing what maybe like real community policing looks like a little bit. Like you just take care of the people around you, and that's kind of what you should be doing, as opposed to going and beating up people who you think are wrong.
That's that's a really good point. I hadn't seen that, and yeah, Kiefer does represent that, you know, not going too far and just being a good guy, like a good friend and a good guy who watches out for his friends. And um yeah, Brotherhood takes it a little too far. And what started the whole thing is the speech by the principal, and that speech was so like ridiculous to me to be in a high school and for kids to actually listen to the principal. Like if I if I at my high school, if some principal was giving a speech like this, kids would have been like yelling at Aptos High School actually, yelling or like boo or like whatever, just like not listen and not care, like vigilantes. These guys like are taking it as serious as like some like general talking to the troops, like going to war. It's like how like how is this even an appropriate speech in a high school? And then like why are high school kids listening? I guess maybe it was a different era, but I don't know.
And I had the exact same question. I was like, this group of seniors must have the most high school spirit of any group of seniors that I've ever seen in my life. Because when he's like, there are wolves at the door, are we gonna let them in? I'd be like, yeah, let's let the wolves in, dude. They're gonna eat you, you know.
Yeah, it's like I guess maybe there were kids like that. I wasn't one of them. that cared about what like the principal was saying or like school spirit or something like that.
Yeah, this is wild.
Yeah.
The I had like a lot of little moments with this film where I was like, I don't know if they're meaning to make it deeper, if I'm just like trying to find something in it, right? So like I liked a little bit of you talked about Derek Keanu Reeves' character and like the breakup with Christy Lori Laughlin, or not the breakup, whatever you want to call it in this. They kind of break up. They kind of still talk to each other. I don't know. But so when that happens, he immediately goes back to the Brotherhood, right? And I was like enjoying this kind of like maybe little teeny hints at like how you go from a righteous thing to a more I'm gonna use the word fascist because that's kind of what I see is like, they're like, now we take control, and who we don't like and who we do like is who is the in group and the out group. And
Hmm.
you watch it like all these things that isolate them because they're becoming more hardlined. Because they're becoming more hardline, they get more isolated. They become more hardline even then from that. It's like you see them break up. It's like, hey, she's just a girl, thinks she knows everything, but I know everything. So let's go beat some drug dealers up, you know?
Yeah.
And it's interesting just because I wrote down like it's a righteousness to fascism pipeline in a nutshell. Maybe not necessarily meant to be that way, but unfortunately with the world we live in right now, I can't help but see it a little bit. And
Yes.
I
Yeah.
appreciated that because I was like, okay, this movie's gonna be full on like, yeah, just go beat up the drug dealers and then you solve everything. And then and it felt okay because when they beat up the drug dealers, that did feel good.
Yeah.
you know, so
Yeah.
there's still some of that there.
I mean, my favorite, well, we're not to this part yet, but yeah, I like when the party, they crash the party in their masks and like flip over the tables and throw people in the swimming pool stuff.
Yeah.
There's not much action in this movie, but that was one of them.
We got the Richard Nixon mask to pop back on,
Yeah,
or
I
maybe for the
I,
first time. I don't know
I
the
immediately
chronology.
thought of like the Point Break, but Point Break came after this movie. I'm pretty sure. Yeah, Point
I
Break
think
was
it did. Yeah, I think it
after
was
this
like
movie.
91,
Yeah,
92. But
yeah. So it made me think of that when they had the dead presidents like masks.
this one, yeah, I love that too because like at this point, it's easy to still root for these guys because they didn't actually hurt anyone. They kind of just pushed people in the pool and like broke
Yeah,
up their
that
thing.
part in
And
the film.
that's a great time. Like for me, that was like, okay, the resistance could work, and I could understand how they would like this because they didn't actually do anything terrible to him, but they did bug the hell out of him, and
Yeah, it was
crash
more
a
like
party.
pranks. Yeah, it was
Mm-hmm.
like more like pranks and to scare them at the beginning. You're like you could be on board with that, kind of
Mm-hmm.
like punking these who they perceived as bad guys or whatever, or drug dealers or vandals. If but yeah, then it gets worse and worse.
Yeah, it was. I like
Carried
that build
away.
up because it kind of gave a actual ramp to them becoming who they became. Because it's like you watch
Yeah.
this and you're like, yeah, I like this. This is funny. This is good. They didn't really hurt anyone, but they did get a point across. And then all of a sudden, again, that stabbing scene is where it completely changed. Where the dude's just
All of a
standing there and
sudden,
they just murk
this
him.
guy, all of a sudden, Billy Zane turns into like a hardened like criminal, has been in prison for like 5 years, and just like shanks some dude in the quad of his school. It's like, who like thought of this? Like, whoa, man! Like he has a butterfly knife and he just like walks by all
the
fast.
the butterfly knife and the way he uses it
Seriously, dude.
was so ridiculously cool and then so bad because he's just like flipping it over. It's like, yeah, I'm pro with this, and then pop. you know
It's like, who are you, man? Like, how did you turn into this person? You're like a high school kid. Like, oh my God.
what happened to Billy Zane? We needed
Yeah,
to see some
what
of his family
happened
life.
to Les?
hmm
We want more. We want a whole movie just based on Les, Billy
Honestly,
Zane's character.
I'm
Yeah,
so in at this point. Like, please show that one to me where he's like, yeah, it's just a
like yeah,
prank, bro.
that's the dramatic movie. His like dad beats him every day. He's like an alcoholic or something. Some cliche thing like that.
Right. It's
Uh,
like, yeah, well, dude, I beat you because there's drug dealers out there in the world. If only they were all gone, I'd stop beating you. He's like, I know how to do it. We form a brotherhood.
there should be yeah. They should make this.
Who
Uh,
was it? His dad that owned the carousel?
I don't know, but that carousel is at the Santa Cruz Beach Boardwalk.
It's a
I can
good
tell you that.
location to film, that's for sure, because it looked
Of
awesome.
course.
And
Yeah, Lost Boys is filmed there too.
and what the movie? What was it? Us from Jordan Peele.
Us. Yep.
Yeah,
Yeah. There's parts of it. Yep. There. That's at the boardwalk as well. Yeah.
the Boardwalk's a neat place. It's like one of those old school carnivals. That's like I think still worth going to because it's just
It's
got good
cool.
vibes.
It's really cool. Yeah, and it's you can walk in. There's no admission to walk through it. You just have to pay for the rides. So you can just hang out there. Like, man,
Hmm.
we used to go and sit on the bench, like literally the bench that they're sitting on with the Santa Cruz Wharf in the background when they're waiting for Derek to show up. Um, I used to sit with my buddies on that bench just drinking like a 12 pack of beer, just like
Yeah, I love
people
that.
watching at
That's
the
awesome.
boardwalk. Yeah. Because you can drink at the boardwalk uh, because they sell beer there. So they didn't know like we didn't buy it there or not. So it's just like,
That's
yeah.
such a good thing. Like you every boardwalk should sell beer in the cans and bottles instead of in cups.
Yeah, it's a cool place to hang out. And then they hang out in the arcade, the Coconut Grove, that arcade. So Coconut Grove is like an old building from the 20s or 30s. It used to be like a dance club. There's still a dance club upstairs. It's actually where I had my high school prom
Uh,
upstairs in the
th-
building.
that's the same
Uh,
building with the mini golf, right?
it's above the arcade, yeah,
Yeah.
in the movie. Yeah, Neptune's Kingdom is the mini golf at the boardwalk, and it's a little bit down from
This is
Coconut
a little
Grove,
bit down.
the
Okay.
arcade.
Hmm.
Yeah, it's right next to the arcade, but yeah, so um yeah, classic scenes and backdrop, and that arcade looks pretty much the same. It hasn't changed much.
It's always like these are good places for cinematography. It wasn't surprising that they used this locale a couple different times for a couple different movies because it just comes across really well.
I wonder that, like, I because Lost Boys is there, and then I know Keanu. There's been lots of Keanu sightings in Santa Cruz. Like he likes the town. I mean, maybe because he filmed there a couple times. Um, but yeah, it's interesting. It would be interesting to know like why it was chosen, and but who knows if we will ever know. And
I think I mentioned to you like I really and I suppose we'll talk about this later, but we'll I'll mention it now too. Is that it's got this good like it's got the California vibes, right? Which you need it for this sort of film because that's how you get these preps and everything going on. But it's also got like the overcast look in the sky, so you can kind of get a little bit more moodiness in a movie, but still have the California vibes. So it's like you get the California moodiness, and it's not all sunshine and brightness outside, which makes you feel too happy. This is like okay, well, bad things are going to happen and we don't have to be energy and action all the time to see these bad things happen. And I just it works for me really well.
yeah, speaking of that, that's it. Like this, the movie opens. The opening credits where it shows the title, I think, is that's Capitola, that little town by the beach, that picturesque, like Capitola by the sea. It's like this perfect little like beach, like almost like a pirate
Mm-hmm.
like cove town, and so it opens up in this kind of sunny scene like that, and then he's driving in his convertible, and it's a sunny day, and he's wearing bright clothes, and like everything's like happy. But then, yeah, it starts to. I like how they do that in the beginning, and then there's more scenes at night and in the dark and stuff toward the end of the movie. So it gets like
Mm-hmm.
darker toward the end. The lighting and the atmosphere match like what's going on in the movie, which that's pretty cool. I don't know if that was intentional, but yeah.
It had to be, I think, but like the use of like the time of the year and like setting it in October and around that time, so they could just get it, keep getting it darker and darker, more overcast, more overcast. Yeah, like great
Yeah.
choice.
It's often in that area it's often foggy in the mornings and then it clears off in the afternoon in the summertime. The summertime it's like usually foggy, like June and stuff. It's not just sunny all day. A lot of times there's usually like the ocean fog and then it burns off.
There's a campground in Capitola that I used to go to every summer in high school with friends, and it is so beautiful. Like it can't be understated. So like if you're in that area
Yeah,
and you
is it
want
New
somewhere pretty,
Brighton? New Brighton.
It was right on the ocean. Like you were
Yeah,
right on the beach, and I can't remember the name of it because I wasn't the one who
it's
booked it.
probably New Brighton State Park. There's a campground there. It's right on the beach. It's right to the south of Capitola. It's or east. I mean, it's just below.
Yeah, that
If
sounds
you're
right.
driving south, yeah.
Because you could do like a little trek and get up to the restaurants and stuff in Capitol, and it wasn't very far at all. And it was just so awesome, such a lovely place, man.
It is. I wish sometimes I wish I still lived there, but it's way too expensive
Yeah.
because it is so awesome. So, yeah.
That's the way it goes.
Yep.
So back to the movie. Let's talk about. I mean, we didn't really like the story itself. There are a couple parts I want to bring up because there are the parts that really do set in stone that these aren't what you're seeing here isn't going okay. And the time that I did like is when they were cruising and they did get pulled over by the Mexican folks. I don't want to call them gang members. They kind of look like gang members, but also that would be me stereotyping in the same way that they did in this movie because they get
Yeah.
pulled over and he's like, "Hey, what are you doing here?" And you think a whole entire like breakout's gonna happen. Then you find out the guy who pulled him over, asked him to pull over, was like, I went to the same school. I hear you're a good quarterback. Just get out of here, dude. Like, what are you doing? Don't start a fight. Why do you think it's us? Like
Yeah.
a very clear and honest question. And again, good community policing from a community that like you wouldn't guess it from this movie would be showing that. And they're like, hey, don't come in here looking to cause trouble with people. Like, there's just no reason for that. You're just gonna get hurt because there's 5 of you and there's a whole city of us. Leave.
Yes.
I
love that scene. And he's at the end of that, the guy says, "Come back when you're my friend," or something like that.
Yeah.
Something like that. Like it was. I love that. How it showed like who they thought was the big bad guys were actually like reasonable guys, and let them go and said, "Come back when you're my friend."
And it was for me, it was set up so good because they get out of the cars, right? These cars look like lowriders. They get out of the cars and they look like what you would see in a Hollywood gangster film with Mexicans in it. You know what I mean? They've got the like bandana that's covering their eyes. They got the buttoned up, plaid shirts going. They got the whole thing, and then they are so much more reasonable than the guys in the car. They are so like. Honestly, they're pretty kind while still saying respect us, dude. Like, don't come in here looking to cause trouble. I think it is exactly that. He's like, come back when you want to be a friend.
I found it. It says, because I wrote it down. It says, "Don't come back here unless you come as my friend."
Yeah, it's such a good line because you're like, man, these guys are awesome. Hold on.
Yeah. These are the cool dudes of the movie.
Yeah, exactly.
The Brotherhood of Justice is juvenile and like unreasonable and like immature, but these guys know what's down,
Mm-hmm. No,
yeah.
it's again, there are just like moments of this movie where I'm like, wow, I really expected this to go one way and it completely flipped on me in such a more like breath of fresh air way where it was like, okay, so it's just showing you that good and strong communities are already doing the policing of themselves, and you don't need some rich people coming in and saying, well, I think that this is bad. And the times where they did do it and it felt righteous was like when he fought the drug dealers that were impacting his actual community. He had been done wrong. Like his brother Willie had gotten the drugs, and he went and found that particular person. You know what I mean? And they just still didn't. I don't think they killed the dude. I think they broke his bones right in the bathroom.
Carlton.
Mm-hmm.
Carlton.
That scene was cool, and Billy Zane looked wild again in that scene. He's just like jumping around and popping and kicking him.
Yeah, and then there was like the guy in a wheelchair with like one arm. I was like, this guy's is that the drug dealer or is he buying drugs?
I was like, whoa, equal opportunity drug dealing right now is happening. Like
maybe he's the one buying drugs because of his situation. He's just like down on life.
He had really cool hair too. He had like a feather in his hair or something. It was pretty wild looking.
Yeah, that bathroom. I've been in that bathroom. It's still the same.
Did you get sold stuff? Because the way he was selling it looked like Oprah on set, right?
In that bathroom.
He's like, baggy for you, baggy for you, baggy for you, baggy for you.
And speaking of selling the drugs, like in the earlier in the movie, they're just right in the front parking lot, like right in front of like the main office of the high school. Like that's where they are. It's just standing in front of their cars and like pulling out like bag, like dime bags or whatever, and selling it right there, like out in the open. I was like, really? Like, jeez, this is bold, guys.
The principal's like, the wolves are at our door, but little does he know if he just looked out the front door, he
Yeah,
could
they
solve this whole thing for
literally are.
himself.
Yeah. Hey kids, stop selling drugs like out in the parking lot.
All we needed
Uh,
was for this principal who seems so, he seems so above it all to just turn around from his basketball set and just look into his parking lot and go like, oh, okay, I see what's going on.
yeah, I thought that the it was interesting, the dialogue between the sheriff and the principal, or the school police officer or whoever it was. Um, and he just wanted like the private suit. He's like, I'll just bring my guys in, like undercover cops at the school or whatever, and we'll fix it. And this guy's like, no, like I want to inspire the students to be better or something. And then he inspired apparently the Brotherhood of Justice. So, and then in the end, the cops just take care of it. He ends up hiring private security, and the cops just take care of it.
It's like an interesting like subtext going on there, right? And I don't really know how to to pull it apart, but it's like, okay, so the police want to come in and they want to fix a problem, and he's like, I think that we can fix the problem on our own simply by being above it and saying we're all going to be above it and like shaking hands on it. But he does it, I think the principal does it in a way that creates cops as the adversary. He's like, yeah, they're going to mess everything up for us, so we definitely can't do that. And he's scaring people, so he's using fear instead of like actual inspiration. And so they use fear to find reasons to beat on people that don't look like them or don't do the same thing as them.
That's true. And then he has to backtrack in this, like the second speech he gives, and like kind of clarify that he meant that you guys need to be better, like, and you need to set the example, like not, yeah, not become like the criminals that we don't want here, you know?
Right. Yeah, exactly. It's like, and to me that makes sense. It's like, hey, maybe like, yeah, if you want people to do better, you inspire them to do better. You don't just like say, go beat up the guys that are doing wrong. You'd be
Yeah,
like,
and
you
we
got to
have
be
to
the person.
remember that these are high school kids, so this is their maturity level. It's accurate for their age group, you know.
The one thing that may not be accurate is if this is October and they're all on the football team, they need to be doing way more football practice. Like, come on. We see it a few times, but like that's like every day, like 2 hours.
Yeah, they're always hanging out at the gas station and the pizza joint.
Yeah, it's like what you telling me in October you're not in the middle of playing football every single day of your life?
Yeah, and actually Keanu and Keither, I think they were in their like, I think Keanu was like 20, 20 or 21 in this movie. So a little older than high school. Kiefer was 20. Keanu was Keanu was actually 22 or 20, 21 or 22.
Yeah, okay, and Billy Zane looks like he was also 20, so like all around the same age as far as the main
Yeah,
actors
they're
go.
a little older than high school kids, but that's off. That's like very
Mm-hmm.
common, is to have like older actors play high school kids.
20,
Just
21, 22, that seems pretty reasonable to be playing seniors in high school. I don't.
yeah. And then Lori Loughlin, I forgot she was in the movie, and so I don't know if it's one of her first films too, like everyone else's, probably. Um, she goes on to Full House fame.
Yeah, she found a different lane to go down, and good for her. Um,
Television. I mean, yeah.
yeah, I mean, she was good in this film. She just didn't have like her role was to be the emotional and moral compass, I think,
Yeah.
and I don't know, like it just didn't really do a whole lot for me. Like she's the one who cared about their moral compass when they didn't care, but they also
Yeah.
really just still didn't seem to care that much. So
Yeah. 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 I mean, they needed a character like hers,
Hmm.
and her and Kiefer's character are like the like morally straight people.
Hmm.
Um, but yeah, it's not like her acting was the greatest, or you know, I think if we get into talking about acting, I mean, where are we at this?
We
Let's
can move into acting right now. Let's go ahead.
Yeah, we've talked about the plot. Where do you want to go from here?
We'll go into acting immediately. So, um,
Acting.
mhm.
Who's your favorite actor in this? Who do you think is the best job?
In this film, I actually think Billy Zane was the one who did it for me, which was kind of shocking because that's not what I would have guessed at all. I think Kiefer Sutherland also did really well in the scenes that he was given. Some of them, like the scene where they find the pipe bomb on his car, he really displayed like a kind of change and like there was depth to it, right? But Billy Zane was the only one who kind of made choices that were uniquely interesting in this
Yeah,
movie. Um,
yeah.
he just played it well. He got the coolest role. I mean, honestly, if you're an actor and you want to have a cool role, you want a sick butterfly knife that you get to swing around.
Being the bad guy is always a cool role,
Hmm. Yeah,
or being the villain. It's
Be,
always a more complex role. And
right? Because like with Keanu, you get like morally gray kind of, like I'm awesome, but I'm also afraid of losing my awesomeness, but I also am awesome, and I think I know what's right, but also do I know what's right? And like that's a good character. You
just
need
a
that character.
privileged, like he just comes off as a privileged rich white boy that doesn't know that much about the real world, is
Hmm.
sheltered. And Lori Laughlin's character actually says that straight up to him
She's like,
in the movie. So
you don't know what
she
it's
calls
like to
him.
work.
Yeah, he does. Apparently, he's never had a job. He like is getting going to Harvard or something. He's like accepted into Harvard. So he's lives the privileged life.
I'm surprised we didn't see him all on a sailboat at some point.
Oh, I know. Yeah, I'm sure his family had one. It's
Yeah.
weird in the movie. It looks like he's living alone with his brother. Like you never see his parent. Like they don't have. There was their parents are not in the movie. Like
No,
where are these kids' parents? And that's weird. Like to me, like these high school kids, it never shows their parents. It shows some housemaid at their house, and then
it,
it's almost like Keanu is raising his younger brother like they're orphans or something.
it's so funny because like they make like one like offhand remark in the beginning of the movie, like, "Oh yeah, well he left really early. It was like 5:30 a.m. and she's in somewhere." And then it's like, I guess you're just supposed to take that as every single day is the exact same because
They're just at
they don't show
work or
up.
something.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Now that I'm thinking about it, there's no parental figures in the movie. There's the principal. I
Hmm.
guess that's the parental figure, like the adult. I guess that's yeah. But for me, I tend to agree with you. But who jumped out first was Kiefer. I just like how he plays the down to earth, like, but kind of like mysterious. He's good at that. He's good at playing that role. So
Hmm. Hmm.
um, his he Kiefer Sutherland jumped out at me, and Keanu does. He's goofy in his role, but Keanu's goofy. Period. Like almost in every single movie I've seen him in.
It, it
So
it's hard because
it's
it's
kind of
like
awkward.
I
Yeah.
wouldn't call Keanu bad in this movie, right? But I also don't know that
No,
I'd call him
no.
good. He just is like he's so charismatic just in general, and like
Yeah.
he just uses that to such an advantage that you're like, I don't really see a lot of like depth coming through your emotions, but there doesn't need to be. I want to watch you.
It's
That's fine.
good for the role, the character. Like he did the character he was supposed to do, I think,
Hmm.
well. So, and I agree with you about Billy Zane bringing the most excitement to to the movie. And just his acting, like I like the line where they're at the carousel and he tells Keanu. I'm just using their actors' names because no one cares about their characters' names. Yeah,
Unfortunately, they're too generic. It's hard.
whatever, Derek. Okay, no one's gonna know what that is. When he's talking to Keanu Reeves, and he's telling him about the bomb, like it just planted a bomb. It goes boom. Like it's just so funny how he said it. He turns the car on, goes boom. Like
Goodbye, front end.
Goodbye, front end. Just all casually like talking about a car bomb. Now it's like this guy went from just some high school kid to now he's like a terrorist, like planning like a mobster planting
Like,
car bombs.
Straight
like,
up, you see him. It's not even just like a car bomb. He sat and he made that car bomb with like metal shavings that he was scraping
it's a pipe
into
bomb.
the thing. Like,
it's like a straight pipe bomb. Yeah. Pipe bomb wired like with a timer and stuff, like, or like some switch. Like there's wires and stuff that he has to cut. Like
the intricacies of what it would take to set up that system that he just talked about, like, are bonkers. Now, I do know at some point they talk about one of the characters taking shop class, and maybe this was the whole entire reason.
Oh, is that what they learn in shop?
They're like, well, hey, teach, how do I set up an ignition-based ignition device? So when someone turns on a car, it'll do something. Wink.
My theory is this goes back to the movie we want to see about Billy Zane's character, the offshoot of this. His dad was in the military, and he's like an alcoholic now, and he taught him all this like crazy stuff, like fighting with a knife and making bombs and everything.
But he didn't like teach him direct, right? He would get like really drunk and he would be like, "You don't even know how to make a pipe bomb with metal shavings by scraping them all off here." And then he's just like, go on. I don't know that. You're right.
Yeah. This movie, yeah, they need to make this movie. Oh my God. If Hollywood's running out of ideas, we just have one right here.
Yeah, I'm telling you, like, the thing with Hollywood running out of ideas is they just don't watch movies, I think,
Yeah. Watch the classics like Brotherhood of Justice.
Don't just remake them, just watch them, and you can get some soundboard bouncing ideas from there.
Yeah. But those are the two characters. I agree. I rated Kiefer. I thought of him first, but yeah, Billy Zane is great too.
Yeah, and I mean the Lori Loughlin did fine. Like, she wasn't given a ton to work with.
Yeah.
Her and Keanu's romance was so silly that you can't even judge it by the chemistry. Like, there's like, let's kiss and talk about how much we love each other all the time.
No, it's a made-for-TV movie, so they can't. Even though I've seen in certain places that this movie was rated R, but to me, I don't think it was even rated. Like, I've seen the R rating when I was looking it up online, but there's nothing on the DVD of a rating. So, and it's supposed to be on TV, so they can't like get all steamy and stuff with
probably some
scenes like that.
Actually cares about people getting stabbed.
Yeah, well, I mean, violence has always been more acceptable than like sexual scenes in America. So
like, you can show this to your 2-year-olds, it's fine.
Yeah, just some guy shanking someone in high school, but is someone kissing, like French kissing? Oh my God, that's not allowed.
It's funny. Okay, so let's move on to this middle portion of the podcast here. 5 things you likely did not know. And judging by the movie, maybe you didn't know any of this yet. You should watch this movie if you haven't, by the way, and you've gotten here. Number 1, the movie is reset. The movie is loosely based on a true story. In reality, the gang formed was named the Legion of Doom, and the school was the R.L. Paschal High School in Fort Worth, Texas. The members couldn't be represented, and the story couldn't be exactly the same because of a condition listed in their incarceration. So you weren't allowed to tell their life stories because then they might be able to make money off of it, and apparently that was what the problem was.
So they just kind of made something loosely based on it.
Mm-hmm. They're like, we can set it somewhere else and have a different thing that happens, but I don't know exactly how close it was, but it's
yeah, you know what?
Similar.
I didn't know that. Uh, I didn't know it was based on reality, but when I watched it last night with Stephanie, she said that she asked that question. She's like, "Is this based on a true story?" I was like, "I don't know. It's a good question." But
Hmm.
she had that intuition, like that it was. So that makes sense now.
Yeah, because you can. For me, it's like it seems over the top, but at the same point, I can see how a bunch of dudes who have really nice backgrounds come together. We're like, we need to fight the people who are bringing the bad. You know.
Yeah, and it's in Texas. No,
Hmm.
no offense, Texas. I'm
Lots of pipe
just
bombs
joking.
down there is what I hear.
Uh, there's lots of crazy dudes like Billy Zane down there with guns and knives. I don't know.
It's just actually just Billy Zane, probably.
Yeah. um, I didn't know until I looked at the box that the music was Brad Fidel, if I'm pronouncing that right. And he, we know him from the Terminator, the original movie
Hmm.
soundtrack. And you can tell when you listen to this soundtrack that you have the same like kind of dark synth sounds. And on top of that, you have weird sounds like you pointed out humming and what sounds like crickets. A cricket soundtrack.
Oh yeah, I'm gonna get into it when we get into that music section because this was cool.
Yeah.
This is cool. This is neat. Um.
So that was interesting to me. That
Oh
was
yeah.
really cool.
No, this is great. Number three, another film, Dangerously Close, which is funny because the name of the movie kind of gives away what the point is. It almost matches this movie exactly. It's dangerously close in plot. They didn't have all the cool jackets though. It was also made in the '80s. I would guess based on the same story. But apparently, like the plot beats are very very similar. They just couldn't get Keanu Reeves, Kiefer Sutherland, and Billy Zane.
That's why we've never heard of it.
Yeah, exactly.
uh, well, this might seem like a strange one, but I didn't even know this until I was researching, that this film and the actors in this film. I didn't know that Kiefer Sutherland has a long ass name. Kiefer William Frederick Dempsey George Rufus Sutherland. I don't know if that's real or if Wikipedia is just messing with me.
What is Donald doing, man? Donald, what did you do?
No. I don't know. I've never heard of anybody with that many names. So,
Donald was just sitting there. It's probably like after Invasion of the Pod people, just sitting there going like, "Well, we have to give them every name so they don't know which one's which."
yeah. Or they're deciding and they had that many, like 5 names or whatever. Yeah, 6 names. 6 names in front of Sutherland.
They're like, just
And
give
they're
up,
like,
just do
these
all
are
of
our
them.
top 6. We'll just give it to them all.
Yeah, that's pretty good. I like that one. Fact number 5 is the film actually has another name. I think this might be the name of the movie that's rated R. It's the same movie, but
Oh.
in a lot of European countries, it is called Young Street Fighters.
Hmm.
Which I don't feel like that accurately represents the name, the tone of the movie to me, really. But like, it's also the only one that I could find a Blu-ray copy for, so I didn't buy it because I don't have a Region 2 player. But instead, we get to watch the VHS copy. But that's if you find a movie called Young Street Fighters, it's the same thing, not a sequel to Street Fighter.
Yeah, that is interesting. They don't seem like street fighters as I think of a street fighter, but yeah. Okay. Okay, Europeans.
Like,
But you know what? You have the VHS and I have the DVD.
mhm.
I don't think this is any better quality than what's on the VHS actually. It's not like a great transfer.
Look,
It just looks, yeah,
and they are street
that's a
fighting in
little
this
different.
picture, to be fair. Like,
Yeah, it's a
but
little different
well,
there. I
check
see
out this
that.
back, and for the people listening on the podcast, I'm sorry, we're showing off box covers, but like okay, in my camera, I don't have the automatic zoom thing on, but like the words are blurry. They didn't care very much about this movie in production wise because this is
No.
it's
Yeah.
all blurry. Like, what are they doing?
Yeah,
I
so
agree. The camera quality in this really kind of upset me because there were some shots that I thought were really cool, and we're going to talk about cinematography next, anyways. And
yeah,
it was
well,
still
yeah,
blurry. It was still blurry.
yeah. We'll get into cinematography. I mean, um, I didn't think it was great at all. The tone of the like the colors seems washed out. Maybe this is just like it's a cheap movie or it's made for TV. I don't know. Or it's the copy, the transfer to the DVD or transfer to VHS. I don't know if it would have been different, but it everything seems like really washed out. Like um, it's very bright in a lot of scenes and not much contrast, I think, or maybe too much. I'm not quite sure. It just very like, and the color. There's not good color in the movie at all.
No,
It's
no.
all. It's like almost like a black and white movie that they added color to. Like
It's very gray, except for the red car. The
yes, the red car stands out. Yeah, it's just crappy like
it's
quality.
hard
I
for me
don't know.
because that first scene with the nighttime scene in the high school with the well lit, like it's lit moodily, and you can see them breaking
Yeah,
in, and then they're vandalizing everything. It sets high expectations for like what the cinematography of this movie is going to be, and it just never manages to meet it. Like that is your high peak as far as photography in my mind is that first scene, and that's a not a great way to structure a film.
I think it's just like the budget of what this film was working with. I mean, because you go next year to Lost Boys, like filmed in the same place, and it's like a, normal like theater class like movie in quality and how it's filmed from comparing it to this film. I mean, it's way better just the next year.
Hmm.
So,
Part of it might have been, and this is reaching a little bit, but part of it might have been that they were trying to ground it in reality so hard that they failed to like let style come into it. Like
yeah.
because I
There wasn't
agree.
much style. There was no like artistic style. You don't notice the camera or that the cinematography in this movie. That's not something that it's like that's highlighted or played with or creative or anything. That's just in the background. It's just like standard whatever at cheap, cheap camera at the time or
Hmm.
whatever they used for this stuff.
Which is wild to me because there are like parts of this movie that where you can feel the like artists breaking through, and that for me is like you look at Kiefer Sutherland's car, you look at the vehicles that they have. All the vehicles are very cool, and then you look at things like the way that that I love Keanu Reeves freaking jackets. Like all
Oh
of them were
yeah,
so cool.
yeah.
I couldn't figure out. I'm like, are those member only jackets? I don't know. But like the Western style one was a little puffy, but then it had the thing. I'm like, so they've got someone there who's got like a can see
So
cool
costume
things.
design was good.
Yeah, but then what you're saying is right. Like because of the color grading or whatever it was, you couldn't
Oh
even
my
really
God.
see it that well. So it's like you're hiding these awesome costumes, this awesome setup
Yeah,
underneath
the color is
garbage.
just not good in the movie. It's off.
Hmm.
So,
Like,
not great. It's one of my lower ratings when we rate the film on your criteria.
yeah, yeah, and that is what it is. Like, could you even tell Billy Zane was wearing camo half the time he was?
Yeah. No. Yeah.
Like, also, come on, like you got this cool Brotherhood when they're all wearing masks. They look kind of spooky. They look like they're trying to be like quasi superheroes, and you don't give me 1 second really to look at them.
You can barely see it. Yeah.
Yeah.
You can barely see things. They're in the dark scenes. It's you can barely see in the dark. I
Hmm.
mean, some movies like we saw in Jason X, that it's they have like oh you can tell they have the studio lighting from like the like high school photography, like high school picture, like studio lighting. But in this movie, it's like oh this is filmed in the dark, like with no additional help. Like I can't see anything. I
Yeah.
can't see
Yeah.
their
Yeah.
face. It just yeah, it looks dark. Like it's
It,
in even Terminator. was like that a little bit, but it was better. Obviously,
Hmm.
the whole movie was almost dark, and we managed to make out a lot in the darkness in Terminator.
I think you are right. It is likely just due to the budget as opposed to almost anything else. Because who knows what lighting setups they had. Like, but they
Yeah,
made some weird choices. Because again, you have the carousel you're filming all of these secret meetings at, which is a naturally pretty colorful place and like with cool kind of angles. And you can see it every once in a while that they hint at these cool angles, like they're gonna finally get you into this a little bit, and then they just instead choose a face shot. Like, give me something.
yeah.
Give me some cool angles. Give
No,
me something from around here.
yeah, they didn't get much background or develop the scene with the camera that much, like or panning, shots or just different. It was just like straightforward, like it was very focused on the characters, and not like the scene so much.
Yeah, yeah. So cinematography. I don't. Do you have anything else you wanted to bring up specifically there?
No,
No.
yeah,
Okay.
that's it.
So let's move on to editing and pacing. Which for this film, I had my version ran 97 minutes, so an hour and 37 minutes, and I didn't
Yeah, me too.
it felt pretty good. I would say like as far as it goes, the editing you could feel the made for TV. I'm not really gonna hurt it for that because that's just the the function of the media that it was shown on. The pacing, I do think that like during the middle there it lulled a little bit, and I'm trying to think of exactly which part because I remember the emotion. I remember kind of like losing focus a little bit. It was right before the guy got stabbed. It was like when they went into this like quasi, are we good, are we bad, are we not, are we okay, we're gonna get excited about it, but then there's the morals get introduced, and there's just the way they introduced the morals through the girlfriend. I think through No Fault of Their Own, it just didn't feel that interesting.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, I toward the latter half of the movie, I was wondering when it was going to end, and Stephanie asked me how long the movie was. So that's a bad sign when you're like, when you're like, when's this over? And how long is this movie? Um, but yeah, there were some parts that were slow, like you said. Most of it made sense to me, and the editing was straightforward, nothing fancy, um, not much creativity, just straightforward. It was adequate for what this type of movie is.
Mm-hmm.
It didn't stand out, so
Fair,
that's
fair
good.
enough.
It's good that it didn't stand out. The only thing, although on this topic, that did stand out to me is there was a few, and I don't know if this is direction or cinematography. I think this felt more into falls more into cinematography, or actually the director of the movie. Is there were some scenes when they look straight at the camera in this, like Laurie did, and then I'm pretty sure what's Mule, our favorite, my Mule did, like straight at the camera. And one of them, when Mule was looked at, it almost looked like he like made a mistake and knew he wasn't supposed to do that. Like I almost got that feeling when I think it was when he was talking to, they were having the one-on-one or something up on top of the boardwalk, like on by the roller coaster. I don't know. I could be wrong about that, which
uh,
scene it was, but there were scenes where they like looked right at the camera, and that's like usually not. Oh, Keanu talking to Laurie in the pizza at the restaurant. I think they had the back and forth there in a conversation, and they were like looking right at the camera. I don't know if it was supposed to be like that, but it caught me off guard.
no, I feel it. I think that fits right into the editing because you'd think the good producer would see that and be like, okay, cut that part out. Let's
Yeah,
move that on.
let's reshoot that. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, who knows what sort of money they were like. Reshoot's not possible. We cut as much as we could, so here we go.
or maybe it was on purpose, like I'm talking to the camera. But then that almost never happens in movies. I don't. That's not a common thing unless they're talking to, like it's like a monologue or something, and
Mm-hmm.
not in a conversation between two characters in the movie.
Yeah, my only thought is that maybe because this movie was made for TV and supposed to give like a larger message, that they wanted it to be a little bit more like I'm talking to you. But those times don't seem
Not
particularly
for these
appropriate.
scenes, it
Yeah.
didn't. Yeah, because it was like the one when they're talking in the pizza joint. It's like they're just talking with each other about what they always talk about. I guess like the Brotherhood of Justice or something, or like if how she's not digging Keanu anymore. But it's like it wasn't an appropriate time, in my opinion, to use that. So that was my only that was what stood out, and
Oh, that's a
yeah,
good catch. That's a good catch. Uh,
yeah,
let's talk about a fun part now. Okay, now we get to actually talk about the music, because the music in this was a lot of fun. It was one of those things that I think really elevated the whole entire tone of the film. Like if this had, let's say, a soundtrack of any other made for TV movie, this might have been a really like dragging and boring film, but it didn't. Instead, it had it reminded me of Brad's name, his full name,
Fidel,
Fidel. Okay.
Fidel, not
Yeah.
Fidel.
And
I'm sure it seems like Fidel. Yeah,
you should check it out, because like if you haven't heard it, I immediately fell in love with it, because during that intro scene, what Peter was talking about, and I've talked to him about it already twice, is the introduction scene has the sick guitar lick. Like it is 80s guitar lick to the max, and it is awesome, and it's everything you want. But if you listen real close, whoever's making this is just humming over the top of it. So they're making it seem even more like dramatic, because they're going ow 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 ow, and I was like, really, like, am I tripping? What is happening here? And then I
maybe the
listened to it.
guitar's that good, Nick, that you think it's a voice like Jimi Hendrix or
I
something with a wah wah pedal or
I
something.
really thought that could be it, but then I listened, and at some point it hits the different notes where the voice is doing a different note than the guitar. So I'm like, no, it really is a person just sitting there singing the guitar notes. I'm like, that's crazy. This dude's
It's Brad.
insane. I love this
Brad is
guy.
the guy that's humming.
Like, if I was to make a mockumentary of someone making a crazy movie, that's what I would do. And he did it, like, oh, it's so good. It's so good.
Yeah. Yeah, you're the if we had just a bunch of 80s, like there is a few actual songs in the movie, and I think they're not like familiar songs. I looked up one, and I think it's called like Shotgun by the Messenger, just some like 80s like R&B kind of like group that had one hit or something. So I don't think they spent a lot for rights to, they're not for this TV movie. They're not going to do that anyways. So, but I'm, I guess this movie was after Terminator. So I'm
Mm.
surprised that they got Brad to do it. Not like Terminator was a groundbreaking hit and like made a ton of money or made these people famous, at least not Brad. But I was surprised that he was doing the score, and yeah, his signature style was it it works for 80s because it's the synthesizer sound, so it works for an 80s movie. It's perfect for it. Um,
When if you needed any tension in this movie, right? Because there wasn't going to be any, just based on
yeah,
what you were seeing, but the music created all of the tension in this film. Um,
yes, and Billy Zane's eyebrows.
yeah. Oh man, all their eyebrows were so well like manicured. Like they had perfect
Yes,
eyebrows the whole way across. It's like I noticed a couple times with Keanu Reeves. I'm like, man,
I
wow,
know.
your eyebrows
God,
are so well maintained. That's
looks
amazing.
like a doll face.
Yeah. When and you mentioned already, when that cricket song comes on, every single time it just ratcheted up the tension, because it was loud. It was kind of obnoxious, but you know what? You can need it loud and kind of obnoxious to make you really feel like what was going on was important, because the pictures weren't doing it. Like that, the story and the acting was okay, but the music was really like, this is intense part, this is intense part, like literally
Yeah.
blowing a whistle at you to warn you that this is the part you should be paying attention to.
Yeah. Yeah. It was very interesting and unique. I've never heard a soundtrack like that. No, it's kind of, I mean, Jason, like Friday the 13th has the that sound. It kind of reminded me of that. I don't know who does the score in Friday the 13th. Maybe it is Brad Fidel too. I
That'd
have
be
no idea.
hilarious. Yeah. Just
But
oops. Every movie we watch is a
yeah,
Brad
every
Fidel
movie
movie.
from the 80s. But yeah, that would be interesting if we found out.
No, okay, I am looking it up right now. Okay, so what he
Okay,
is
you're
known
looking it
for
up.
the most is True Lies,
True
Terminator
Lies.
2, Terminator, like all the Terminator movies.
Yeah,
Yeah, let's
he's
see.
continued that on.
Oh, he did Johnny Mnemonic, so he followed around Keanu a little bit.
Okay, people become friends on set, so
He did Fright Night, so that's cool.
yeah.
He did Dream House. There's really not a ton here. He did Straight Talk, which is cool. You get to when you get to do a soundtrack of a movie that's starring Dolly Parton, right?
Oh, that's cool.
But yeah, so like he's not, from what I can tell, like as prolific as I would have guessed.
Yeah, I guess he just had that certain sound that worked for these movies. But yeah, it was great. As far as the sound effects, they're fine for the time. It's not like they're horrible or like clipping or, but it's not great. My copy of the movie, I don't even know if it was in stereo to be honest. It was definitely not in surround sound, not 5.1, not even 5.1. It was, I don't know if it was in stereo. Like, so
That's totally fair.
that's
Yeah,
how there was not like a good
it
sound
was
quality.
literally made only specifically for a TV, not a TV and speakers.
Yeah, no. And back in 1986, probably most TVs were mono, like just one speaker on a TV. So who cares? Yeah, I mean, yeah, it's not. We don't have a groundbreaking sound or like surround sound or anything. But it was fine for what this movie is. It's not some like Star Wars or huge action movie or it's mostly just dialogue in the movie.
And yeah, I don't remember any times where I was having a real difficulty hearing what they were saying or where anything felt like it was off. Uh, I agree. The dialogue movies seem easier to set up like this because I mean, what's the worst case scenario? You got someone to re-record their lines and you didn't notice. I didn't notice that.
Yeah,
So
yeah, yeah. There's no like special effects. Um, there
yeah,
was the Molotov cocktail, which looked real, so
did look
not
real.
like really a special effect. They just threw a Molotov cocktail at this guy's car, this MG convertible or whatever it was. Like,
Yeah, it was a nice car. It's like they messed up with past pasty, you know.
and then there's some fake blood, I guess, for the stabbing, and
And the pipe bomb, if that was a real pipe bomb.
the pipe bomb. Yeah, they had to. Yeah, I'm sure the sheriff's office had to be there for that one.
I felt pretty good with the sound, but that the music was just not
I
what you would
put
expect.
Yeah, it wasn't like I didn't rate that as excellent, but I put good.
I wrote it
So
as excellent because that I'm
it got
sorry.
you. The
The
soundtrack
the
did.
guy
Yeah,
humming to his guitar just like
you had
set
to.
such a
Yeah,
tone for me after I heard it. I was like, this can't be real, and it totally is. And I love this person immediately for doing this. You know,
it's probably the most creative aspect of the movie, actually.
this guy was just vibing his heart out to watching this. He's just like, oh yeah, this is it. This is good.
I know. I want to see this guy work. Like,
Yeah.
Oh
No
my
joke.
god, that'd be so cool. uh,
All right. Well, so we got one more little section. Let's hit this button here. Your 3 favorite scenes. Now, Peter, if you're ready to go with these scenes, I'll have you bust yours off first here.
well, I it might seem silly, but I like the gym scenes when the dudes are just hanging out, figuring out like the Brotherhood of Justice, like creating it,
Mm-hmm.
and just like some bros like lifting weights and like it's like so cliche and it's so like perfect for this like high school like jock movie character. So I thought that was like a classic. Like those are classic like style scenes, especially for '80s movies. So, um, and then the I like the showdown in Watsonville. Like, well, I don't know if it's called Watsonville in this movie, but when they go to, you know, like driving by the lowriders, that's like
Mm-hmm.
a driving scene. The one of I mean, he drives his convertible in the beginning of the movie or throughout the movie, but there was a driving scene when they're driving down the street with the lowriders, and then they get pulled over, and then they get confronted by this Mexican guy. I'm saying Mexican. I have no idea. Chicano, whatever. I don't know the right term, but um, that was one of my favorite scenes for not for like the cinematography or anything, but just for the message that the guy gave, as we talked about earlier. Just,
Mm-hmm.
you know, don't come back here unless you come back as my friend. And he's taking like he was like showing this Brotherhood of Justice who's kind of immature, like he was showing them maturity and, you know, real like or good morals, you
Mm-hmm.
know, when you wouldn't have expected it. So I thought that was it, and I think you agreed that was a powerful scene.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Um, and then a scene that for my third one that I found was funny and awkward. So it's one of my favorite is um like the breakup between Keanu and Billy Zane, where they like leave him and he's just standing there and he's just like looking around and they're like, "You want to ride, man?" And he's like, "No," and he just like stands there and just starts like slowly punching this like garage door or something, this like metal roll down door. And it's just like so awkward. It's like, why didn't you want to ride from the guys that aren't Keanu? Because Keanu left, your buddies that you're like still down with are like offering you a ride, but nope, I'm just gonna sit here and pout and like punch this wall all slow.
Just lightly punch this roll up door because that's what's gonna give me my respect back, right?
Yeah, I thought that was funny, so I just like why?
Oh, that's good.
Uh,
Oh man, see, this is why I like Billy Zane. He made such weird choices. You know, like I don't know if that was the director. It was like Billy Zane was like, "Hey, I gotta be mad in this scene. You know what I'll do when I'm mad? I go stand in the corner and just stare at the wall and go,
yeah, leave me alone, guys. Like
yeah."
I'm just gonna stay here and like walk home after I punch this door.
No, those are good ones. My 3 favorite scenes are the first one's the same. It's the scene with the Brotherhood and the Mexican quote unquote gang members. It was just a nice surprise to see the potential gang members being easily the more respectful and more logical group. You know, like uh, we talked about this already. But for me, it kind of showed what policing your own neighborhood might actually look like, and I kind of enjoyed the depth that kind of brings to the movie. Because again, '80s movie about anti-drug messaging, oh boy, it can go the other way real easy, and it didn't. It stayed relatively like it felt like a sane choice, and that they were presenting an actual sane version of reality just from this one scene. I was like, oh my gosh, how nice is that?
Yeah, I was relieved too. You're
Mm-hmm.
right.
Yeah, because I was like 100% like, oh no, there's gonna be a fight, and then they got out and like they looked like they were gonna get in a fight, and then he was just so like he was just the
So cool.
exact right there. He was like, I'm not gonna beat you up. I know who you are. We know we're just trying to say don't come in here and start troubles because really there's no need for that at all.
Yeah.
Just, like leave until you've come back in a way that you want to be here and be involved with us.
Hmm.
Just smart choice in that. Like that was a shockingly smart choice in a movie that I didn't expect up to that point. Then anyway, we talked about it. My second favorite scene was the bathroom jumping of the drug dealer, and
Yeah.
Carlton, because the whole build up in the arcade. One, the arcade is awesome to shoot in; it just looks great. Two, you still have like this like ability to cheer for the Brotherhood at this point because they haven't really done anything too crazy. And three, Billy Zane, when he starts actually fighting the guys, when you can see the craziness in his like physical movements, and I really enjoyed that. Like he was like jumping up and down, he went too crazy, and Derek Keanu Reeves' character's like, stop.
He's out of control.
And you can see it that he keeps building on it from there. It was just cool looking scene, and the whole Oprah handing out of drugs was one of the funniest things. I'm like, I don't know that these guys really know what a drug deal looks like. We don't get a whole bunch of people in the bathroom and just pull out a ton of bags. Like, here you go, you get one, you get one, you get one, you get one. Hilarious.
Such conspicuous drug dealing.
Straight up.
Yeah.
And then the final one for me was the intro scene after the credits. It was the break in at the night and the destruction of all the balls in the gym. It had like the best cinematography in my opinion, and it set this like tone of like, yeah, I get why they're upset with these guys because this is such needless destruction for no reason. Like there is a problem here. There's very clearly a problem here, but like also who are they blaming for doing this? Because it's probably just a rival school.
Yeah, or it's probably just other like bored kids at their school. I mean, who knows? We never find out like who did that. So
The ultimate
yeah.
plot twist was Les and his dad on a bender.
Yes.
So they're like, who would choose these colors? You just see Les from the background go like, huh? What do you mean? Who would choose those colors? They're great.
That's who it was. We figured it out.
Well, let's give our full reviews. I'll go ahead and start off here just to run through it because I think we've talked about it a lot. So the story is going to be a 3 for me. It was good, not great, not bad. Shocking in the right ways, but also the depth of the character building wasn't exactly there. However, the layers of story and what it was actually trying to get across were surprisingly deep. So you sit in the middle with that one. Take your good with your bad. The acting was a 3 for me, not necessarily great, but also again not bad. The people who I think could have done better, I don't really know that they could have because that's not who the character was. The cinematography is a 2. I had it as a 3, but I think I agree. The color gradient, it just was bad. It just wasn't. It wasn't good because you had such cool things in this movie. And you never really showed them off in the way that they deserved. Except for Kiefer's car, that was a sick car.
It was. I don't know what it is. I don't know what kind of car, but it was cool.
No, it was like this car probably could have been in Lost Boys too. You just keep the same car going until the next year.
Maybe it was.
It's a very real chance. There's some
He
guys.
just stayed in Santa Cruz for a year. Yeah, I'll just stay here and film Lost Boys.
Well, it's so cool because you get this idea that like you get this '50s car, right? Or I assume it was '50s, maybe like early '60s, but
Not six. It was earlier. It was 40s. I
'40s
think
even.
it was a 40s. Yeah.
See, because to me that plays well with the idea that he's like a working stiff everyman, right? Because he's got a nice car, but it's old. He doesn't have a nice new car. He's got a nice old car. If he knows how to fix it, you can do stuff like that. But a new car would be like, okay, And then you see every single one of these guys in the Brotherhood has a nice new car, except for the guy. Okay, sorry, this is a whole segue. When they pull up to the gas station and they mob up to it with all the cars, there is a van that comes with them. Why then are we always packing into the convertibles and not just getting in the van?
I didn't notice the van, but yeah, that brings up a good point. How many high school kids can you fit in a convertible? The entire Brotherhood of Justice like rolls around in like a 5-seat car when there's like, what is there? There's like 6, 7 of them, and they're sitting on each other's laps like in the car.
It's funny because like it makes this convertible, which should be cool, look so goofy, and like they makes them look like kids. Like when you get that time when the Mexican gang pulls out and like they're all just packed in this little car like sardines. They totally look like kids.
Yeah, yeah. That's funny. I didn't notice that.
I was just thinking, I was like, I remember a van in the scene. Why were they not in the van? It's probably Les's van, man, his dad's van.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Editing, pacing is a 3 is fine. The music got a 4 for me. That brings it out to, yeah, I'm giving it a 6 out of 10. It's respectable, and you know what? It is, to be fair, better than I thought the movie was going to be when I went into it. I was, I didn't think it was going to be bad, but I was like, okay, made for TV '80s movie. I think I know what I'm getting into, and it shocked me, but I was actually engaged, and I actually really enjoyed a lot of what I was seeing. So like, this is a good 6. This is one that I'm like, if you like these action movies, this is probably, or not, it's not an action movie, but if you like these sort of movies, this is probably one you haven't seen from that time period. Go watch it. If you've listened to this,
Yeah,
you already know what happens the whole way through. But you know,
yeah,
if you
that's
haven't watched
true.
it, do go watch it.
And then listen to us like banter about it. But yeah, I rated the story a 3. It's just right in the middle. 3 out of 5. It's effective at getting the message that it tried to get across of, what can go wrong when you take vigilante justice too far, and the problems with being a vigilante. Um, it wasn't like groundbreaking story or anything, nothing too creative. So it's not going to get like a higher marking for me. The acting, I originally put 2, but I'll give it a 3. Um, they did good for what they did a good job for the type of movie it was, made for TV, and then the age group that they're portraying and the particular characters that they're portraying. Um, like Keanu played a good high school jock, like leader of the football team, like kind of naive and everything. And Kiefer did a great job playing this brooding working class guy just trying to get by, but who's also a good guy. And Lori did good girlfriend of Keanu. Um, and then we have Billy, one of the highlights, as we agreed, playing the good villain character. And there's not like groundbreaking acting in it, but it's right in the middle for me as well. And these actors are just starting their career, so we have to give them that as well. They're just starting their craft, so they definitely all got better with age. And it's so cool that we get to see them all in this one movie. Um, so it's lucky that they're all in there.
I will say, I think Billy Zane, this might be one of his best roles.
Yeah, I don't know much from him. Yeah, but the cinematography, we talked about that. How I gave that a 2. It's really not that good. The colors are horrible. There wasn't creativity in the highlighting the scenes. It was just straightforward. Um, Editing was fine, straightforward editing, nothing creative, and there was some things there was some parts that probably could have gotten cut from the movie, and on the flip side, more things could have got developed better. So that's partly the story. Um, but yeah, give that one a 2. That's my lowest rating out of anything. And the editing, pacing, I guess I just gave that a 3. So I just talked about that. It was adequate for this, and there was no real problem. I didn't notice any. It wasn't noticeable. There wasn't bad parts. The only thing that I mentioned earlier about I had a problem, and you put it in this category, is the looking at the camera. The couple scenes where I saw an actor just stare straight at the camera, which is usually like a no, but I don't know if that was on purpose or an accident. And if it was an accident, it should have been edited out of the movie. So definitely not getting a perfect score for that. So that's a 3. And then music and sounds, I gave it a 4. Um, I thought it was very creative. I love Brad Fidel, and there was no problem with this type of movie. There's not massive sound effects. It was mostly dialogue. There was no problems there. It wasn't groundbreaking. It didn't have surround sound. It didn't need surround sound. um, so it just what stands out is the actual score, and that creates a lot of the tension in this movie. Um, and without Brad's work, it would have been a lot worse of a movie. And it goes back to what we've talked about before with Jason X and Terminator, is how important the score is or soundtrack is to a movie. It's literally like half the movie. What creates a good movie is
Mm-hmm.
that sound, and creates the mood and everything. So you
Yeah.
did a good job. That's number 4. So I have 3 plus 3. I had a total of 15. I don't know how you get to the the lower number.
No,
I don't know
this is fair. This is
formula.
fair.
What's the formula?
You got it at a 6 also.
A 6.
Yeah,
Okay, 6 out of 10.
yeah.
Yeah,
That was an
I
easy
feel
one.
good with that. 6 out of 10.
Mm-hmm.
Feel good with that.
It I mean, just like you think what you're getting into is going to be kind of, action packed, boring, trite, especially based on it's called Young Street Fighters in Europe. Like, stop. But yeah, and it has some surprising depth to it in ways. So thank you, Peter. Thank you for joining me. Always happy to talk
Oh
to you
yeah,
again.
of
Um,
course. Yes.
awesome movie selection. I've never seen this one, and I'm happier that now that I have.
I'm glad I could introduce it to you. And the reason, as I said in the beginning, is just because this is where I grew up, and so it's so cool to me. Like, I was a 2-year-old baby living less than a mile from this high school when they were filming this, when these guys were there. I was a 2-year-old baby, like less than a mile away while these guys were doing that.
That's
So
sick.
it's so
Yeah.
cool.
No, that is rad. Like, you can see it all.
Yeah.
All right, so the next movie that you'll catch on this channel is going to be The Lawnmower Man from 1992. The classic Pierce Brosnan Stephen King tale about some crazy computer stuff. I don't know enough about this movie. I've never watched it, so I'm excited to watch it and bring a review of it because it looks insane. Yeah.
Lawnmower Man. I've heard of it. I might have seen it, but I totally forgot about it. Yeah. I'll
Yeah.
have to watch it again too.
It looks bizarre. So with that said, pretty soon you'll have to carry your lunch around in a safety deposit box.
Additional film review.